go over the different strumming patterns from easy to progressively more difficult. And I'm going to use He's Got the Whole World in His Hands as the song. This song uses two chords, the G chord and the D chord. I'm going to use a capo in order to put the song up into a key that's appropriate for my singing voice. So I'm going to put a capo on the 4th fret and sing it out of this position, which would be the key of B. And I'm going to use two chord shapes, the G chord and the D chord. If you're a beginner and you're playing the 3-string G chord, you're going to play the 3-string G chord by placing your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret and strumming strings 3, 2, and 1. And you'll switch between that chord and the D7 chord, which is played by putting your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the E string, string number 1. Your 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string, string number 2. And your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, string number 3. And strumming strings 3, 2, and 1. So the G chord and the D7 chord. If you're a little more advanced, you can switch between the G chord and the D chord. And the full G chord, if you want to try it, you're going to place your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, string number 6. Your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, string number 5. And bring your 3rd finger back to the 3rd fret of the E string, string number 1. And strum all 6 strings. And then the D chord. Your 1st finger is going to go on the 2nd fret of the G string, string number 3. Your 2nd finger will go on the 2nd fret of the E string, string number 1. And your 3rd finger will go on the 3rd fret of the B string, string number 2. And for this one, you would strum strings 4, 3, 2, 1. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use the full chords, switching from G to D. But you can use the simplified G chord, switching to that D7 chord and sliding the finger back to that position right here from the G to the D7. The first pattern we're going to go over is strumming on beats 1 and 3, like this. So with the singing, with the song, He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole wide world in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. Those are essentially half-note strums, because the chord is ringing over the period of 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, If that's easy enough, then you can try strumming on every beat. Now, when you strum on every beat, you don't want to have each beat be equally strong in the way you play it. So the strongest part of the measure is usually beat 1. So beat 1 would be the beat that you would emphasize. The next strongest beat of a measure is beat 3, and that might be another beat that you place more emphasis on. So as I play this using all quarter note strums, strumming on every beat, I might play it like this. So I have a strong downbeat on beat 1. Really making sure I especially hit the bass strings, which are the low strings on the guitar, strings 6, 5, 4. And then for beats 2, 3, and 4, I really just have a smaller, lighter strum on the upper strings. So it creates a strong feel on beat 1 with a weaker feel on beats 2, 3, and 4. So singing the song might sound something like this. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. So that's the next pattern I would suggest trying. Once you're comfortable with that, you can try to add some eighth notes to your strumming pattern. And the first one that I teach is a strumming pattern that goes along with the following rhythm: 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Generally, in playing, you strum down on the beats, and your beats are where the numbers lie, and you strum up on the end of the beat. So the strumming pattern would be down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, which goes directly with 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2. Now, if you'll notice, my strength is on beat 1, with my 2 and very light on the upper strings of the guitar. So I have a strong strum on beat 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. So I would have a stronger strum on beats 1 and 3 with a weaker eighth note strum on 2 and 4 and 1, 2, and. Once you feel like you have that pattern down, the 1, 2. The best way to go about practicing something like that is to go very slow and really pay attention to how you're playing that first strum and try to isolate isolate those lower strings. I'm not strumming straight across. I'm strumming really those bass strings with a smaller strum at the higher end of the guitar up on the upper strings. Like that. So really, to sit down and really learn how to do this, you want to sit down and practice that strum right there in this one. And this will set us up for later learning how to do bass and then chord strum, which would be something like this. Actually adding a bass line into the guitar part as well as the eighth note strumming. So it's preparing us for that step. The next strumming pattern that I would do after that is a downbeat on beat one, a quarter note on beat one, and then eighth notes the rest of the time. So rhythmically, it would be like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 again, stressing beat 1. Practicing the 1, 2, and 3, 4, and strumming pattern. You want to get that good bassy feel, and then very brushy feel on the top strings on strings 3, 2, 1. Practice doing that on one chord until it becomes comfortable. I prefer playing a D in the song rather than the D7. That's just the way I like to play it. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's all preference. If you're doing the simplified chords, it's easier to go to that D7 by sliding that third finger back rather than going from G to D and moving every finger to a new position. So with those two chords, I'm going to show you how that pattern might look, because we're not getting those bass notes in there because you're not using the full chord. But you notice I can still emphasize beat 1 by stressing that beat and playing a nice strong downbeat, even though I'm just playing those 3 strings, and then being very light on my eighth notes. So with all the patterns, it would look like this. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. The quarter note note pattern might look like this. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. You probably heard me playing this fourth string on occasion. That fourth string is part of the both chords, so it's okay to play it. So if you accidentally strum that fourth string with the rest of them, that's okay. The second pattern would look like this. Emphasizing those quarter note strums. So it's a strong and then very light.